It is a great day to be alive, and I am so thankful for God, Jesus Christ, who lives in us. Today's video is titled A New Dream, Yellow Toys, and 667. I'm calling this the Eiffel Tower Dream Part 2 because of the number 667 and its ties to an old Eiffel Tower dream that I had last year. I'm going to quickly get you guys up to speed with all of that before getting into the new dream that I again am calling Yellow Toys and 667. Before we get started, I'm not a financial advisor. Nothing that I'm sharing is financial advice. I'm simply sharing dreams, visions, and interpretations that I feel God has given me as it relates to crypto. Now, let's get into the video. So I want to start here with the Monopoly game dream that I had on July 15th, 2024. Concluding that God was showing me something about the Great Depression and the market crash of 1929. Why? Because during this time, the Monopoly game was played a lot during the time of the Great Depression. I'm not going to get into the details about this Monopoly dream. If you want to hear more about the details of that dream, it is found in this video, which is a follow-up video to the Baltimore, Ohio dream, because all of this is connected. Moving on for the Monopoly dream, I want to go now to the research that I did about this Monopoly game. Again, it was played during the time of the Great Depression in 1929, after the October 29th, 1929 market crash took place. And the game creator, his name was Charles Darrow. Moving forward from July 15th, 2024 to July 28th, 2024, that is when I had Baltimore, Ohio dream. Back then, I was on the October 17th date, trying to understand the meaning behind that. What was God trying to show me? And with time, God gave me that understanding. But what I want to focus on right now are just quick details about this Baltimore, Ohio dream. And this dream started out with me talking to a person that favored this guy, Clarence Williams. In the dream, he looked at me and said, Baltimore, Ohio. I understood something about Putin in this dream, and so I knew to ask him this question. I said, will Putin be there? He looked at me and said, no. Based on the understanding that God has recently given me about this particular dream, I understand now why he told me no in the dream. Ohio, as it relates to Putin, I found out that there is a place called Russia, Ohio, and therefore Putin is not there. He's in Moscow. So in this dream, I told you guys that I saw Putin. He was angry. He was saying that the timeline had been moved up. And the timeline that he was referring to, I now understand, has to do with the Russia-Ukraine ceasefire. Trump gave him an ultimatum to have this resolved in 50 days. But Trump moved the timeline up. And now he only had 10 to 12 days to make this happen, with the deadline being August the 8th. In this Baltimore, Ohio dream, there was a train station, and someone by the name of Bernard was in that dream. Someone I went to school with. After doing my research about Baltimore, Ohio, and their connections to the history of trains, I found out that there was a train station that was named Bernard. And also, the individual in this dream, Bernard, his birthday is on August the 6th. I've shared that God has revealed to me that trains represent market crash. This was gathered from my first market crash dream when I saw the arrow dropping extremely fast, moving as if it was going to derail. This dream, Baltimore, Ohio, will be the second dream where I saw a train. And this dream was followed up by the Japan market crash that happened on August the 6th, which was the same date as the individual's birthday in that dream. And then the third dream where I saw a train has to do with the Spy Eiffel Tower dream. And in this dream, I saw a candle falling down the middle of the Eiffel Tower extremely, extremely fast. And at the end of that dream, I saw a train and people were getting off of the train. More about that dream in a minute. Getting back to the history of Baltimore, Ohio and railroads, there was a guy by the name of Clarence Darrow who bought a stock certificate for this particular B&O railroad 5 days before the market crash of October 29th, 1929 took place. I took note that this guy, Clarence Darrow, had the same first name as the guy in my dream that I was talking to who favored Clarence Williams. So two individuals whose first names are the same. Getting back to the Monopoly game that I had a few days before I had this Baltimore, Ohio dream. Based on research, I found out that the B&O Railroad on the Monopoly game board is the Baltimore, Ohio, or B&O Railroad, of which this individual purchased back during the time before the market crash took place. Also, the guy who created the Monopoly game, his last name is the same as the individual who purchased the B&O Railroad stock certificate. Their last names are the same, and they are not related. So God was doing a play on names with this dream and this research, giving me confirmation that I was on the right track as far as understanding that trains relates to market crashes. He's telling me something about the Great Depression. And of course, all of this has something to do with Putin to an extent. Why do I say to an extent? Because the August 6th market crash that happened with Japan had nothing to do with Putin, as far as I know. It had to do with carry trades, which leads me to believe that the next market crash that is coming will have all to do with Putin. And I covered all of that in great details in these videos. The most recent one is titled XRP and the Tsunami Alert for Possible World War III Timeline. So now I want to turn our attention to the date of August the 6th. Yes, we know it was given in the Baltimore, Ohio dream. Yes, we know that after that Baltimore, Ohio dream, we saw the Japan crash. But let's move forward 1 year. August the 6th, 2025, I had a new dream. Before I get into that dream, I want to look a little bit more at the history of August the 6th. And I've shared this in previous videos. What is so significant about August 6th, and what does that have to do with what we are seeing now in 2025? World War II, August 6th, 1945. On August 6th and August 9th of 1945, the United States detonated 2 atomic bombs over the Japanese cities Hiroshima and Nagasaki. Specifically, we're looking at August the 6th, Japan, Hiroshima, 1945. August 6th, Japan, 2024, market crash, carry trade. Going back to Hiroshima, we know that had to do with nuclear weapons. Moving forward to 2025, what talks are we now hearing about nuclear weapons? Russia issues warning to West as it pulls out of missile treaty. What missile treaty? The INF, Intermediate Range Nuclear Forces. That was the treaty that was signed in 1987. What else are we hearing? Nuclear submarines closing in on Russia as Trump ramps up tension. And these 2 article dates were August the 3rd and August the 5th. So just before the August 6th date, which was the anniversary to the Hiroshima nuclear bombing that took place on August the 6th, 1945. Where else this year have we heard about the Hiroshima and Nagasaki bombing? We heard Trump speak about it after the bombing of Iran nuclear facilities. He compared this strike to the bombing of Hiroshima and Nagasaki. This part of World War II is not coming up again and again for no reason, as well as this date of August the 6th. I saw the significance of August 6th last year after God showed it to me in the dream, and I'm seeing it again this year as topics about Hiroshima comes up, the anniversary of that being on August the 6th, as well as this new dream that we're about to get into now. So here's the outline for all of the August 6th dates that I have been looking into, and now getting into the Yellow Toys dream and 667. As shared in the beginning of this video, 667 was a price that I saw in an old Eiffel Tower dream. And here is the list of all of the August 6th dates and events. The common denominator that I'm seeing in the first 2 is Japan. And as we get to the third one, I'm going to share the dream that I had on August the 6th of this year. And this connects to Japan simply because the number 667 was a price that I saw in my old Eiffel Tower dream. The Eiffel Tower we will find in Paris as well as Tokyo, Japan. So that is how my August 6th dream is connecting to Japan through the Eiffel Tower and the dream that I had about 667 and the fact that there is an Eiffel Tower in Tokyo, Japan. So everything's connected to Japan. All these Japans is connected to August 6th. The Eiffel Tower dream I shared in 3 different videos. The last one being significant as I was pointed in the direction of the dot-com bubble, and I will share that now. Very quickly, I knew something about this Eiffel Tower that I saw in this dream I had on September 18th, 2024. The tip top of this Eiffel Tower, I understood something about the spy being at 667. And the moment that I saw or understood 667, I saw a large red arrow fall down the middle of the Eiffel Tower. I was able to somehow look and see all of this fast dropping taking place. The red candle came to a stop at a certain point. When the dream changed, I saw that I was under the Eiffel Tower looking up. And as I looked up, what used to be a candle is now an arrow tip and is pointing right in my face. Then the arrow changed and now I'm looking at a train and people were getting off. What I concluded about this dream is that there is going to be a crash. I'm specifically looking at SPY or S&P 500. The train in this dream representing a crash, and people are going to be getting off at the bottom. Back when I had this dream, the SPY was nowhere near the price of 667. And I was thinking to myself, well, Lord, once the SPY hits 667, then we're going to see this drop or this crash. If you look now at the SPY, as someone stated in the comment section of one of my videos last week about the price of SPY, I think the highest was about 640. So not that far away from 667. But I have to get to the research that I have been doing on this over time, and I've shared this already. After having this dream, I began to do my research, and I found out that there was a such thing as an Eiffel Tower pattern when it comes down to looking at charts. I had never heard of this before until Johnny Bravo did a video on December 15th. On September the 18th, and then a few months later, I saw Johnny Bravo talking about this Eiffel Tower pattern, and I got super excited because I knew that God was going to give me a little bit more insight on about this dream. History about the Eiffel Tower that connects to a market crash, or specifically October 29, 1929 market crash. The Eiffel Tower was the tallest man-made structure until 6 days before the market crash of 1929. That sounds very familiar to Clarence, the dude who bought the stock certificate for the B&O Railroad 5 days before the October 29th, 1929 market crash. So not only was I seeing this SPY crashing, but the train in this dream is symbolic of a market crash, as well as the history through research that I found out as it relates to the structure of the Eiffel Tower and how it was the tallest until. A few months later, more research that I did brought me to the dot-com bubble. And this research I did on March the 10th, 2025, this year, only to find out that on March 10th, 2000, an anniversary date, the dot-com bubble had its peak. And by 2009, the S&P would hit a low of 667. So the S&P has saw this low of 667 because of the dot-com bubble. Also on March 10th, 2025, the anniversary to this dot-com bubble happening, we saw that the stock market took a hit because of tariffs and also because Trump did not rule out a recession. And so on that day, we saw a big drop in the market. This article says here, the NASDAQ had its worst day since 2022. So now for the yellow toys dream, it was very quick. I saw my kids in this dream. I guess they had just finished cleaning up, and there were several clear bins. They did not have any tops on them, and they were all filled with yellow toys. On top of each pile of toys in each bin, I saw in black writing, the number 667. And it was on top of each pile of yellow toys. I woke up from this dream and realized I've seen this number before. I've seen this number in the Eiffel Tower dream. As I began to take my notes, I realized the date, August the 6th. So because of all of the yellow toys that I saw in this dream, I decided to derive a date using August 6th, 2025, adding 40 days to that date. And I ended up with a date of September the 15th. So now I'm asking myself the question and asking God and praying about this. Will the spy hit 667 on September 15th? And that will be followed by a crash that has something to do with something similar to the dot-com bubble. So here again is our lineup of dates of August the 6th and everything connected to Japan and why. And because I have several videos out there that has quite a few dates as far as derived dates and things that I am praying about and looking forward to, I have it here. I'm just going to put everything together here on this particular slide. On August 12th, I'm looking to hear major news about XRP and the Ukraine-Russia war. September 15th, I'm looking for something similar to the dot-com bubble to happen. I'm also looking for the S&P 500 to hit 667 during that time, or some type of crash to take place as it relates to the S&P 500 in the stock market. And then on November 28th, I'm looking to hear possible news about the Ukraine and Russia war as it relates to World War III. These are all the things that I'm praying about, taking before the Lord. If there's anything that changes as far as these dates, or if God gives me anything more, I will come back and I will do another video pertaining to those specific details. But for now, this is what I'm praying about. And until the next video, God bless.